What's goody? Hey man, so last night was an absolutely wild night in the NBA, bro. So I'm chilling, right? Pierre, stop scratching. Stop. He got like skin allergies, bro. So he be scratching. But anyway, so I'm chilling, right? My girl get off work, she come home, I'm talking to her, vibing with her, she take a shower, I'm doing some work, writing an article, everything like that. She comes out, we watch You for a little bit. I've never seen it. I saw a few episodes of it. We're looking for a new show to watch. She was like, hey, randomly thought of this show. I've seen it before. You're gonna like it if you actually get into it and start watching it. We start watching it, right? This is all besides the point, but I'm telling a story here, so lock it in and listen to me, okay? Thank you. So we're watching You and everything like that. But before we were watching You, before she gets home from work, we were watching the Lakers game. We were watching the Lakers play the Knicks, and in the last like 5 minutes of that game, it what is that? Oh, it's a piece of fluff, bro. I thought, oh, I didn't, I thought, I don't know. I thought it was like a big ass spider or something. Anyways, we're watching the Lakers game. I'm watching the Lakers game before she gets off. She comes home. Lakers game's still on. I had about, I think it was like 10, 9 minutes, 7 minutes, something like that left in the fourth quarter. And then for those last couple minutes of the game, the Lakers absolutely blew out the Knicks. They took over the game and everything like that. LeBron had a great game, basically a 40-point triple double. Basically, I'm sorry, a 30-point triple double, basically. Or he might have actually got the triple double. I don't know. I didn't see him get that last. I think it was a rebound that he needed, but he was close to one. Nevertheless. And my homeboy FaceTimes me. Haven't talked to him in a while. Blah blah blah. His girl were catching up. Me and him was talking and chatting a little bit. And then we hang up, everything like that. I take the dog out. Me and my girl go to bed. I'm thinking nothing of it. Blah, blah, whatever. I get up in the middle of the night. I think it was like 4 a.m. because I had the meanest BGs of all time. Boy, I get up to use the toilet, to use the porcelain throne. And I check Twitter. I'm just sitting there, eyes basically still closed from the sleep. I had to turn the light on. I'm squinting in there, can barely read. And I see something on my phone. I'm just checking my notifications, looking through my emails, blah, blah, blah. I didn't get much, clearing them out. And then I'm seeing the ESPN notification. But y'all know how ESPN notifications stack up, right? So it'll be like, oh, you could have 7 ESPN notifications, but whatever the most recent one was is the one that's going to pop out. And the most recent one wasn't anything crazy, so I didn't think anything of it. I didn't look through all of them. I just, whatever, skimmed past that one, and I was like, I'll click on them later to see what they all were. Then I go on Twitter. Because, again, I had the BGs. I was on the toilet for quite a long time. And this was not the only time I was on the toilet last night. Please pray for me. But I was on the toilet for quite a long time, so I go to Twitter. And I'm on Twitter, and I see whole timeline. Luka Doncic, LeBron James, Luka Doncic, Anthony Davis, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, oh, this is real? And then I go to my phone thinking, no way, ESPN didn't notify me about this. And I check, and that was the one out of like the 4 or 5 notifications that I had from ESPN that wasn't about that trade. All the rest of them were about that trade. So it just happened to be that one was the most recent one. Bro, you are telling me that LeBron James and Luka Doncic are now teammates? You are telling me that Anthony Davis and LeBron and Luka Doncic just got basically damn near swapped for one another before the trade deadline, a week before the trade deadline, for seemingly no reason, seemingly out of nowhere. According to reports, the LeBron didn't even know this, which I don't necessarily believe. But according to reports, none of the superstars knew about this. This was literally a trade that was done in the shadows. Nobody knew. There was no rumors. There was no leaks because guess what? It was basically just the GMs and the owners and the coaches, maybe not even the coaches that knew about it. You are telling me that the Mavericks are now a team that has their starting lineup: Kyrie Irving, Klay Thompson. I feel like I'm missing somebody in their starting lineup. It's gonna be Kyrie Irving, Klay Thompson, PJ Washington, Anthony Davis and Daniel Gafford, and then they also got Max Christie, who I don't give a damn, and the 2029 Lakers first round pick. That's all you got for Luka Doncic. Now, don't get me wrong, that starting lineup could be elite. The defense on the Mavs could have just got a whole lot better. We're probably going to get to see what Anthony Davis looks like at power forward because I'm assuming that the Mavs are going to give him what he wants and allow him to play with the center, so he's probably going to start alongside Daniel Gafford / Derek Lively, whoever's going to be, right? He's probably going to start alongside that person. So we're going to get to see AD with that, and don't get me wrong, the Mavs were already a really good team. Luka's been out for a long time. We're going to talk about this from their side and everything like that in a second, but I need to understand how all you got for Luka Doncic was a 1-year-old, 32-year-old Anthony Davis, Max Christie, who's a young player, but nobody thinks he's going to be anything special, and a 2029 Lakers first-round pick. Now, that first-round pick will probably be valuable, you would think, except for the fact they just got Luka Doncic. So LeBron might be gone, but if Luka's there, that first-round pick isn't going to be all that valuable. It's not going to be all that special. The Lakers got Luka Doncic, Maxi Kleber, and Markieff Morris, so not only did they Get Luka Doncic. They also got some decent center slash forwards that can go in there and play some of those minutes that Anthony Davis would have played. And then the Jazz randomly in here just for contracts and stuff. They get Jalen Hood-Schifino, a Clipper second round pick for this year, and a Mavs second round pick for this year. I don't care about that. This random, absolutely random Saturday night trade just might end up being either this might end up being the craziest trade in NBA history, and for the Mavericks, I could see this end up being the dumbest trade in Mavericks history. Because you're telling me you have a guy that's been in your franchise for 6 years. You drafted him, right? He's been on your team for 6 years. He's taken you to a finals and to a Western Conference finals, both with teams that people did not think were good enough to make it to those places. He took you there. He is the second greatest Mav in Mavs history, and it's not close who third is. It's him and Dirk, and it's nobody else close. And he's only been there for 6 years. A guy that's 26 years old, one of the best young stars in basketball, one of the faces of the league, and he's an overseas player, which just shows you how good he is. All you could get for him was an old Anthony Davis and one first-round pick that, sure, if it was just LeBron on the team, would be valuable because LeBron's going to be traded by then. But now they have Luka Doncic, who's young and probably going to be there in 2029. Why do you think that pick's going to be valuable? And unless you think he's going to leave, to me, there's so much to unpack with this trade. First of all, how random it was. What made this happen? There was no rumors, and according to all reports, this has been done in the shadows, and I don't know the truth of that. I don't know the truth of LeBron not knowing, and Kyrie not knowing, and Luka not knowing, and AD not knowing. I don't know the truth of that. But if that's true, something had to happen between Luka and the Mavs. If this was a completely random trade that nobody knew about, either something had to happen with the Mavs, between Luka and the Mavs. No, I think that's the only option. I think something had to happen between Luka and the Mavs. Now, reports are saying Luka's about 270 pounds. The Mavs were growing concerned. They were growing concerned with the fact that he never plays, blah, blah, blah. They believe that defense wins championships or whatever. So they were concerned with his lack of effort, with his lack of conditioning, with him being overweight, with him being injured this season and everything like that, these lower leg injuries and everything like that have been plaguing him for pretty much this whole year, and then also into the playoffs last year. Very real concerns, please don't get me wrong. Luka Doncic is a top 3 player on the planet. At very worst, Luka Doncic is a top 5 player on the planet. That man took you to the finals last year. That man at least won y'all a game in the finals last year. Wild hurts. Now, did he play his best in the finals? Absolutely not. I think we can all agree there. Was he hurt in the finals playing hurt? 100% he was. But he took you to the finals. He's a guy that's an MVP. That's one of the MVP favorites going into the year every single year. Now, has he won one yet? No, he hasn't. But he's 26 years old, 27 years old. He hasn't really even entered what his prime is likely going to be yet. And you traded him away because you were a little bit concerned about his effort and his weight. It's not like he's Zion where he's missed more career games than he's played. It's not like he's Zion where not only has he done that, but it's translated to 0 success in your franchise since drafting him. The guy is a superstar NBA player. He is one of the most talented players on the planet. He is a top 2 player. He's a top 3 player in the Western Conference. He's a top 3 player in my opinion in the league. To some people, top 4, top 5, whatever. Now, don't get me wrong. Anthony Davis is a very good basketball player. He's a top 10 player in the world. Anthony Davis is going to make the defense and the size on that team insane. Pause. And then for Luka, this gives them the point guard. For the Lakers, this gives them the point guard they were looking for. This gives them another superstar with Bron. This makes their offense absolutely insane. It adds some 3-point shooting. It's going to add spacing for other guys because when you have to worry about Luka and LeBron James, you can't really guard everybody else. But what else this is a big way of saying, hey, Austin Reeves, you're not going to be getting the ball as much for the Lakers. It's another thing. The biggest concern for me here is, one, what's the chemistry going to be like between LeBron and Luka? Now, those guys are both ultra competitors. Those guys are both guys that seemingly want to be great at the game, want to be some of the greatest to ever do it, right? So I would say the chemistry is probably going to be perfectly fine. But their games do kind of overlap a bit in terms of the passing and things like that. Now, we know that LeBron can really play with anybody. He's one of the most flexible stars in NBA history, and Luka, with his playmaking, he can probably do the same thing, right? So I'm not too worried about that. But the biggest concern, what does the defense look like? What does the post offense look like outside of LeBron and Luka? How are you scoring down there on the block if it's not LeBron or Luka? You don't have a big body center. Bro, first of all, just let's talk about the defense. Who are you throwing at Jokic? Now, granted, Jokic has been dominating you even when you had Anthony Davis on the team, so maybe this isn't the best argument, but genuinely, who are you throwing at Jokic? Who are you throwing at Sabonis? Who are you throwing at a healthy Zion if it's not LeBron, if it's not DFS? Healthy Zion is not as big of a worry, but let's say you get to the finals. Who are you throwing on Porzingis? who are you throwing on? Let's say you play OKC. Who are you throwing on Chet if Chet's healthy? Who are you throwing on Isaiah Hartenstein if they're both on the floor at the same time? Who are you throwing on? We already talked about Jokic and Sabonis. Who are you throwing on Embiid in a regular season random night game if Embiid's healthy? Who are you throwing on these guys? Who are you throwing on a Giannis? Who are you throwing on these guys now? Because not, the Suns, you might have just taken you probably did just take their spot for worst center core in the NBA right now. And rebounding is something that is massively important in this league. While I do believe Luka Doncic and the spacing that he has, as well as the spacing that he creates, is going to add some shooting for the Lakers, this isn't one of those things where it like solves every problem they have. Now, is it a big move? Yes. And this is one of those times where I keep saying the Lakers always want to go for the home run. How it's going to work out, I don't know. But when you can get Luka Doncic and you only have to give up one first round pick and Anthony Davis to do it, I think you pull the trigger every time. So I'm not really criticizing the Lakers here. When you can go out and get Luka Doncic, who might not have yet even entered his prime, you go out there and you do it every single time. I'm not mad at you for this. I'm not even mad at, even if this doesn't work out, I'm not mad at you taking a swing for it, because this doesn't even ruin your future, because you got a guy who's arguably the best young player in the game, who is one of the best young players in the game. You got him. So no matter what in the future, as long as you keep him, you're good. And for Luka Doncic, you're probably going to stay there, because not only are the Lakers more than likely going to pay you the money like they've always done with Kobe and everything like that, you also get to be a face of one of the biggest, most name brand leagues, teams in all of not only basketball but sports. So this sets Luka up perfectly to be one of the faces of the league. This sets Luka up perfectly to be in a rivalry with another guy who's going to be a face of the league, like Shea, who's in the Western Conference. Like, and while Luka was already in the West, don't get me wrong, he was already doing that. On the Lakers, a rivalry is always more crazy because you're going against the Lakers. When the Lakers have one of the best players in the world or the best player in the world, it's always must-see basketball when they're playing. It doesn't matter if they're playing the freaking Washington Wizards, who have had 2 different 16-game losing streaks this season. So it sets Luka up to be one of the faces of the league, or the face of the league, perfectly. It sets him up because of the market he's in. It sets up for the NBA to bring back rivalries, to bring back big rivalries. Him versus Shea, him versus Wemby, him versus whoever, him versus Steph, even more than it already has been a thing. Him and Bron versus Steph, him and Bron versus all these guys in the league, bro. That is going to be must-see TV for every Lakers game for the rest of the season. The Lakers' next game, imagine, bro, I don't know who the Lakers play in the next game, but imagine their next game against a high-profile team. Imagine their next game against the Warriors, where you get to see Luka and LeBron versus Steph. Imagine their next game versus the Nuggets, where you get to see Luka and LeBron versus Jokic. That is must-see TV every time. So if you're the Lakers, if I'm a Lakers fan, I'm not mad at this ever. Even if it doesn't work out, I'm not mad at it, because you took a swing for Luka Doncic and you missed. Oh well. Yeah, at least you took the swing, because a lot of organizations will be scared to even take the swing. But if you're the Mavericks, if you're a Mavericks fan, how do you, if you're a Maverick, if you're Mark Cuban, if you're whoever's in the front office over there, how do you justify giving up Luka Doncic, a top 4 player in the world, for an aging superstar in Anthony Davis and only 1 first-round pick that's not even going to be valuable because that team's probably going to still have Luka? Either something drastic had to have happened between Luka and like the management or the coaching staff or the locker room. It would have had to have been something insane. This is something that has set the league on fire, bro. Everything is, Twitter's blowing up. Everything is blowing up. YouTube, every content creator you know is putting up a video right now that includes myself, bro. The world is blowing up. This could end up being the craziest, or maybe it could for either team could end up being, for the Mavs could end up especially being the stupidest trade in NBA history, could end up being the craziest trade in NBA history. This was supposed to be a deadline that was supposed to be born. We were like, yeah, we're probably going to see a Jimmy Butler move. That's probably it. And then it's like, oh, the De'Aaron Fox thing, that might get moved. He might get moved. And then you start thinking about some of the smaller names. Oh, you might get a Zach LaVine to get moved. You might get some of these smaller name guys to get moved. But now, Luka Doncic just got traded to the Los Angeles Lakers. Not only one of the craziest trades of all time, that alone makes this one of the craziest deadlines of all time. It doesn't matter where Jimmy Butler goes. It doesn't matter where De'Aaron Fox goes unless it's like San Antonio now. Nothing, even that, no move that's going to happen that I could even fathom would beat this one unless LeBron went to the Lakers. I mean, unless LeBron went to the Warriors or Steph went to the Lakers somehow, and there's no way the Lakers would be able to have the money for that. But that is the only way that something could beat what just happened. Because what? There was not a rumor, a mumbling, a murmuring, or anything that I heard about this. And then Luka Doncic gets traded. If you're the Mavericks, off of face value, this might be the dumbest thing I've ever seen a team do. Trade. Other than like the Warriors trading away Jordan Poole for Chris Paul, incredibly stupid. The Wizards making Bradley Beal the highest paid player I think ever at the time, and giving him a no trade contract, a no trade clause, stupid. The Suns trading for him, stupid. The Mavericks trading away a guy that had the potential to become their best player in franchise history while he was still at the age of 26, 27, at the oldest, for an aging star in Anthony Davis, is either going to end up being one of the craziest yet smartest moves of all time or one of the craziest yet dumbest moves of all time. And I don't know which it's going to be. But if I had to lean, I would say craziest and dumbest. Because what? As always, man, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what y'all thoughts about this are, man. Blow this video up. Tell a friend to tell a friend because... wow.